Greetings and salutations, Morgan here with Seahawk Palaver. And I got through draft weekend. I hope you guys did too. My favorite time of the year is now over. I enjoyed it immensely. Day one at least, and day two. I loved the Byron Murphy pick. I loved the Christian Haynes pick. Like, Christian Haynes was so far off my radar because I didn't think we'd have an opportunity to draft him at pick 81 that I didn't really think about him at all throughout this entire draft process. Right? I, acknowledged his good play and thought that he'd be gone early in the second round, and it was just not something that I needed to concern myself with. And so for him to be available at 81 and for us to select him, it's fantastic. Despite the fact that I don't know how he does what he does, being such a great pulling guard and have such strength and ability to move when he has no calves. What is the deal with this guy's legs? I mean, he doesn't. Where's he getting the lower body strength from? I mean, it's all thighs and no calves. I don't understand how he functions, to be honest. Yeah, look at this. What? He looks like a Boston Dynamics robot, right? So maybe that's what's going on. Maybe it's just all steel cables running up from his ankles to his knees. And then they're being controlled by some technician off screen. I don't know. It's dude's got weird legs. I don't know what to tell you, but he's a good player, so we'll just take it. All right, so moving on to the second day, we traded down after having a really early pick in the fourth round and picked up some more, which was nice because it seems like the fourth round they knew who they were taking. Like, it didn't matter how the board fell. It didn't whatever. I think they went in. And they're like, we want these guys, Tyrese Knight and AJ Barner, and we're not leaving the draft without them. We're just going to take them wherever we can early, like a round early for both guys. There's no way, I don't think, that either of those guys are going in the fourth round. They're going to go later. But in Schneider fashion, when he wants his guys, he'll take them early. And that's what he did. And I'm okay with it. I mean, Tyrese Knight, it's hard to gauge, lower competition, whatever. But from what I've seen of him, I enjoyed his play. He's a bit out of control at times, but it was fun to watch, right? The little tape that's out there. So I don't really have a problem with Tyrese Knight. It's fine. We have Dodson and Baker. I think they're going to start, and I think these guys have a lot of potential to earn a second contract with us. So I'm not too concerned with what's happening past those guys, right? It would have been nice to have like Jordan McGee. I like Jordan McGee a lot. He was my favorite linebacker in this part of the draft, like this late. But we went with Tyrese Knight. He had a meeting. I guess they said he had a great meeting, and that's what they based their decision on. I think that's what they based a lot of decisions on. And I'll get to their last pick, but I think that's what happened there as well. AJ Barner, look, I have him all the way down here because I didn't like this pick at all. I'm not a big AJ Barner fan. And that's totally on me. I mean, there's people like, oh, he's going to be great blocking tight end. He was so boring. His tape was so uninspiring that he was literally my lowest rated tight end that I went through. And I realize that I just have a fan-made YouTube channel, but I have been a draft maniac for over 30 years. I'm taking notes, making lists, compiling, comparing. After a while, you kind of get a feel for these kind of things. And I just didn't like his play. I didn't. It was just, ugh. But if you're talking from a culture perspective, this is a guy who will outwork everybody, will outcompete everybody, will show up an hour early, at the facility, stay an hour late, whatever. He's not going to let anyone outwork him. And I think that that's something that they wanted to bring in to the locker room. So, yeah, it was kind of an early for him. They could have probably got him in the 6th round, maybe. Again, I'm speculating. I don't know what the chatter was, but he's a blocking tight end that's undersized and slow for the role. We'll see how that translates. He's going to work his ass off. He's going to try to make it happen. And he'll probably be an inspiration to the people around him, like a Tim Tebow playing tight end. And that's fine. If they want that in the locker room, I get it. They needed some more voices in the locker room, some more examples in the locker room of hard work, because maybe it seems like in recent years that hasn't been a number one priority. So I get it. Fine. Moving on, Satoa Lumea, a great value pick. I think that they just looked at their board, and even though they had already taken Chris Haynes, they're like, we can't not take this guy. You know, you probably had him rated really highly, and they just nabbed him. Later on, when they got Nehemiah Pritchett, that was a guy that I wanted. He was one of my guys in this draft. He's traded up, he's super fast, and he takes risks. He does. I mean, he kind of abandons form to pursue what he thinks is the right thing to do when covering a back, and I don't know how much that's going to translate to the NFL. He's probably going to need a lot of coaching because he guesses a lot. I think the ball's coming here, and he'll put his hand up, right? And he'll get lucky sometimes, and he'll get a pass breakup. But it's like, wow, you're really pushing your luck, dude. Really pushing it. That could have you easily could have been burned for a touchdown. But more often than not, he made it work in his favor. So, again, I think that we were down a cornerback spot. A lot of people didn't look at it this way, but I have said it before. The Ravens, who, Mike MacDonald's system last year, they played an extra defensive back 80% of the time. Well, 79% of the time. But 79% of the time is almost 80%. So a significant portion of time, they had an extra defensive back on the field. And if we have Devin Witherspoon playing nickel, which he excelled at, then in our Rick Woolen on one side, who's going to play there? It's Mike Jackson, it's Trey Brown, it's Artie Burns. I would rather have someone more accomplished than those people. And Nehemiah Pritchett has the traits to be a starter. He does. I don't know if he has the discipline yet, but it remains to be seen. Moving on, DJ James, his teammate at Auburn, another value pick. Chris Sims, he was his number 3 corner in the draft. DJ James is a great player, and if you listen to his conference call with the coaches, he's like, I can't wait to get there. You got a dog. I am gonna, work. He fits that mold of what they're looking for. Just the attitude of no one's gonna beat me. I'm gonna come in and do my very best, and I think that, that's a good thing. And he has talent. He doesn't necessarily have size, but he could back up Spoon in the nickel, I think, right away. So that's where I put him on the spot. Our last pick, Gerald out of Findlay College, which I had never even heard of. I didn't know this guy. I saw him on the top 30 visit list, and I was like, I just kind of ignored it and glossed it over. I'm like, I don't know what they're doing there. But again, I think he's another culture guy. If you listen to his interviews and the way he talks, he's engaging. He's like jovial. He's extemporaneous in the things he says. He's in the little that I heard, I'm like, I want to hang out with this guy. He just has a personality that comes through, just very obviously. And I just kind of think that they wanted that also. Another hard worker. He stayed at his tiny college for the entire time he was there. He didn't take money to go elsewhere, and I think they appreciate that. I think that's dumb. I mean, if the money's there, take it. It's America. No one's going to do you any favors. But he didn't do that, and I guess he was rewarded for it by being taken with our last pick in the sixth round. I don't know that he sticks, but he's a highly athletic. He was a tackle at his school, but he'll probably be a guard here because I guess his arms are short. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but we have a lot of guards now. We did get Garrett Greenfield, who can probably, measure out as tackle and an undrafted free agent, but I don't know that he'd stick. And with all these offensive linemen, now this was a problem, so I'm glad that they have so many to choose from. They're going to have to cut half these guys by the time, training camp rolls around. Training camp comes to an end. We usually carry 9, maybe 10, and we have 18 right now. So there's going to be some trimming done before before camp's over, obviously, but I don't know who it's going to be. Camp is going to be a very interesting watch this year. Okay, as far as undrafted free agents go, Carlton Jackson, another 4.2 speedy guy. We'll see. They liked him. They had him in for top 30 visit. Ro Torrance, who had a good career. We'll see how that translates. Devere Levelston was on the same team and same defensive line as Byron Murphy at DeSoto High in Texas. So he has experience playing at a very high level. He's undersized. He's only 280. We'll see what happens. Williams, Rayson Williams. I don't know a whole lot about this guy. Maybe just a camp body. We will find out. Sandia Anderson out of Grambling has potential. He's very athletic and speedy. We'll see what he can add to the team. Aaron Beasley had a great career, as did Easton Gibbs. Easton Gibbs reminds me a lot of Patrick O'Connell. They came from the same kind of area. I think O'Connell went to Wyoming and Gibbs went to Montana. I think very similar players, highly productive, not super athletic, but know what they're doing on the field. So it'll be an interesting camp body. Nowitzki out of Kansas to back up center. We'll see what happens. George Halani, he's making the team, I think. Again, because his competition is Tamarick Williams, who is good, but George Halani out of Boise State was grown out of a vat to be a clone of Chris Carson. Seriously, he reminds me so much of Chris Carson, the way he plays, hard-nosed, fast. He got that acceleration through the hole. Won't let anyone take him down. Falls forward, drags guys with him. Very physical. He's an ideal complementary back to just in the third and fourth quarters when everyone's getting tired. Just bring him in and just let him run over the exhausted defensive line, and he's gonna keep the chains moving for you. I'm excited to see. Let's see what he can do in camp. We did get a quarterback too, who's a runner. He's got wheels. Siobhan Cordero, he can move. He can really burst through the line, and he's quick to get a first down. His arm, what are you gonna do? It's not comparable to anyone else we have on the roster, but he has a different dimension in the game. That'll be fun to watch during preseason. Let's see. D. Williams from Tennessee. I have this year. This isn't retired. This is returner. His specialty is returning kicks and punts. We'll see. With the new rules, he'll be in competition with Chenault and D. Eskridge in that regard to see what happens. It'll be fun to watch too. And of course, Westover, the tight end out of University of Washington, is going to know Gibbs' offense really well. H-back, he can move all around. He can pretty much play any position on the line, not super well, but he can get it done to add some variability and new looks to your offense. So that'll be cool. Tamarick Williams, again, another running back competing with Halani. I don't know a whole lot about him. We'll have to see what he brings to camp. I saved the best for last. Hayden Hatton. I did not know this guy. I didn't. And then I said, I'm going to take a look at this guy and see what he has to bring. Blown away. I have never seen hands like this guy. I waxed lyrical about it on some message boards, but this guy is... I don't want to sound overblown, but I think he's going to be like our Adam Thielen, right? Jake Bobo made the roster last year because he could always get open. He can manufacture space, right? And he can block his ass off. Hayden Hatton doesn't have the blocking ability. Of course, he's 6'1", 207. Not very strong. He did 14 reps. He doesn't have the size to block, but he reminds me a lot of somewhere in between Cooper Kupp and Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry had a miserable combine. He was very unathletic. I think I have it up here. Do I have it? Oh, yeah, Jarvis Landry. Okay, Jarvis Landry, who had a great career, and he made his career out of catching everything in his area code, right? 4.77, a 1.73 10-yard split, a 28.5 vertical jump, 9.2 broad, didn't even run it through Chrono Rare 20, 12 bench presses, miserable combine. That's probably what pushed him down in the second round. People thought he was going to be a first-round receiver because of his production. But he was drafted in the second round, but he had a great 10-year career, 100 passes, usually over 100 catches, Pro Bowls. he's fantastic because of his hands. He made a career out of his hands. He was reliable, didn't drop passes. Hayden Hatton, out of the past 2 years, he had 177 targets. He dropped one pass in 177 targets. And he makes these spectacular catches look effortless and easy. Like I made an example of Odell Beckham. You know, he would make spectacular catches. They look like a circus acrobat would do it. Hayden Hatton makes the same catches, but they just look routine. Like, this is something he does every day. It's not a big deal. His catch radius is everywhere. He's like Dr. Octopus. You only see the 2 arms, but I think there's secretly 6 other arms out there catching the ball that we just can't see, and it just ends up in his hand somehow. It's like nothing I've ever seen. Go watch. There's plenty of Idaho tape out there on YouTube. Go check out Hayden Hatton. It's something to behold. And not only that, he understands angles and leverage enough to like squeeze through tacklers, like would-be tacklers, and get extra yardage. Like if he's 3 yards behind the sticks and there's 3 defenders on him, he will find a way to lean and wriggle and push and just fall forward enough to make those extra 3 yards for the first down. I can't wait. I literally think that as soon as he steps on the field, D. Eskridge is going to shit his pants. Because I think that if you took Hayden Hatton and took the defensive back covering him and tied their legs together, so it's like a 3-legged race to do a hitch route, I think Hayden Hatton will still catch more passes than D. Eskridge. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what he brings. I think when I see him, I think Brandon Lloyd, who would make spectacular catches. I would think Jarvis Landry, the consistency. Cooper Kupp. He's actually very, very similar to Cooper Kupp. I have his stuff up here too. 4.62. Hayden ran a 4.63. His vert's 31. Hayden jumped to 39, so he's explosive. Not as agile, but he had a longer broad jump. He had 10 feet, 39. But his 3-cone and 20-yard short shuttle were a bit slower. So his measurable agility is not as high as some of these guys, but he's much more agile than Jarvis Landry, and has similar hands. I think that if he gets a fair shake, this is a guy that makes the roster, and I think that he can be really good if given a shot. So I'm stoked for what the future holds for our team, and I guess we'll just see. I'm excited. I'm excited for what happens. We didn't get any safety help, but I'm on record as saying Jarek Reed and Jonathan Sutherland deserve a shot. So even though we didn't add anything in the draft or in free agency, I still think we're probably going to be okay there. And if not, maybe a trade, or maybe we just pick up someone who gets cut off another person's roster somewhere. But I think between Julian Love, Jenkins, Kamon Wallace, Jarek Reed, Sutherland, and even Kobe Bryant, who had a really down year last year, but he was hurt a lot, can potentially come back and surprise us. We'll see. It looks like his stats, it looks like he played better, mostly his rookie year. He played better in the slot than he did at safety. They tried to move him to safety, and results were mixed. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I've been talking for a long time. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you liked what you saw, give me a like and a subscribe. That would be appreciated. I like that a lot. Otherwise, you guys just take care, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, have fun. Bye.